In late 2020, HBO premiered a new drama series focused on recent college graduates called Industry. I was on the Industry train from the first episode. I thought it was going to be the next big thing, but it wasn't really a hit. Somehow, Industry got renewed for season 2, and I decided that I would not take that renewal for granted. I would do all I could with my 20 followers to make sure this show got renewed again. So, while season 2 was airing, I clocked in every Monday night and live tweeted throughout every episode. When I was late, or the one time I completely forgot about a new episode, I felt like I had failed the show in some way. Throughout those 8 weeks, I received some attention from the actors themselves. I interacted with other Industry fans. I felt like I was a part of a small but mighty community and team, all committed to promoting this underdog show. It felt like both a hobby and a serious commitment. I had never been more passionately or consistently engaged with social media in this way. Why? Hi, I'm Tirzah Duncan, and this video essay provides a framework through which to understand why TV fans live tweet. I decided to study live tweeting to try to unpack my own experience and explore other television fandoms. I also want to do my part in helping people understand fan behavior. Historically, scholars did not take fans seriously as academic subjects. Instead, many scholars sought to judge or instruct fans and not earnestly try to get to know them. These scholars ignored that everyone is a fan of something. We just may express it in different ways and to different degrees. If we are to be in community with each other, we should try to understand others' passions, the ways people try to combat loneliness, the ways they try to feel closer to their inner selves, and the ways they try to escape from the struggles of our world instead of putting them down. For this study, I conducted ethnographic participant observation research on the Interview with the Vampire series fandom during the airing of Season 2 from May 12, 2024 to June 30, 2024. I created a new account on the social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, with an Interview with the Vampire related profile picture, display name, and header image. I followed about 18 Interview with the Vampire fan accounts. My background is in anthropology. In this discipline, it is crucial that anthropologists inform the people they are studying that they are conducting research. With this in mind, I included that I was researching the Interview with the Vampire fandom in my bio. Every Sunday, I would watch the new episode of Interview with the Vampire live on AMC on one of my personal devices. During commercial breaks, I would go on Twitter on a different personal device and screenshot relevant live tweets that came across my Following tab and For You tab. I would also occasionally go to the IWTV, Interview with the Vampire, and IWTV Spoilers hashtags. I did not tweet during episodes, but I did like and bookmark tweets. After each episode ended, I would spend 20 minutes to an hour collecting tweets. The week of the finale was a little different. I was on vacation on the West Coast and had to watch the new episode the day after. This was the only instance in which I could not conduct research as the new episode aired. I began my study with these questions in mind. Why do fans live tweet? Are there any patterns in how fans live tweet about Interview with the Vampire? What are the patterns in how viewers make meaning? What do live tweets reveal about the meaning or significance of a TV show for viewers? Do live tweets show different readings of the series? How do live tweets convey the 3 pillars of this framework: connection, promotion, and performance? What does fandom social media behavior tell us about how fans think about the state of television? Interview with the Vampire is a TV series based on Anne Rice's 1976 novel of the same name. Season 1 focuses on Louis Dupont du Lac, played by Jacob Anderson, as he is interviewed in the modern day by Daniel Malloy, played by Eric Bogosian. Louis told Daniel how he fell in love with the vampire Lestat de Lioncourt, played by Sam Reed, in early 20th century New Orleans. After a peculiar courtship, Lestat turned Louis into a vampire in a church on the altar. Louis' turning sort of represents their marriage. The other key character in the first season is Louis and Lestat's adopted vampire daughter, Claudia, played by Bailey Bass in Season 1 and Delaney Hales in the second season. In Season 2, the interview continues. Louis explains that after he and Claudia, spoiler alert, think they have killed Lestat, flee to 1940s Paris, where Claudia becomes involved with the Paris Vampire Coven, and Louis begins a relationship with their leader, Armand, played by Assad Zaman. I chose this series because of timing and the passion of the fan base. Season 2 was set to air after the school year ended. Additionally, it was one of the few series I was familiar with that was airing a new season during the summer. For this kind of research, it is helpful to be familiar with the subject of the fandom's interest and their slang. Also, retroactively studying live tweeting is very difficult. I wanted to be there with the fans, live, and understand every little event and facial expression they were tweeting about. The Interview with the Vampire fandom is one of the most active television fandoms on Twitter. The other most active fandom I see on Twitter is the fandom for ABC's series 911. Interview with the Vampire fans were also entering Season 2 with a bit of a chip on their shoulder. There was racist pushback when Jacob Anderson, a black man, was cast as Louis. After season 1, some people were still not on board with the, quote, race bending of Louis and Claudia. Interview with the Vampire fans were still fighting to defend these changes from the original source material. Fans were also annoyed that Interview with the Vampire did not receive attention from the major awards, such as the Emmys and the Critics' Choice Awards. Interview with the Vampire fans started season 2 ready to prove not only that Interview with the Vampire should be considered prestige, awards-worthy television, but also that Interview with the Vampire was the best series on television. All this made me confident that the Interview with the Vampire fandom would produce many emotional and reactive live tweets while viewing. Based on my experience tweeting and participant observation research on the Interview with the Vampire fandom, I developed a 3-pillar framework to explain why TV fans live tweet. The pillars are connection, promotion, and performance. The connection, promotion, and performance framework provides a lens through which to analyze fans' motivation behind live tweeting and the tweets themselves. Fans live tweet to connect with each other, to promote their chosen series to other potential viewers, and to perform their dedication to their chosen program. Fans' ability to connect to others, promote their favorite shows, and perform online allows them to explore and affirm aspects of their identity. Before we get into the bulk of my argument, let's talk a little bit more in detail about live tweeting. Live tweeting involves individuals posting their thoughts, ideas, reactions, and feelings to any type of media or activity while it is occurring. People can live tweet themselves going on a first date, they can live tweet a political debate, they can live tweet a sporting event, or almost anything. This study is focused on people who live tweet their reactions while watching episodes of television, specifically a television program while it is still actively airing. While people can watch older shows like The Sopranos and live tweet their reactions, I'm not interested in those fans. Someone live tweeting The Sopranos is moving at their own pace as an individual viewer. They are not confined to weekly episode drops or airings. They are also likely not engaging with many other users who are also live tweeting The Sopranos. And if there are others, they are likely at completely different points in the series. In sum, live tweeting is simply posting on Twitter/X as an event is unfolding. This study does not fit neatly into any one academic field. I draw on communication and media studies, fan studies, and sociocultural anthropology. I relied heavily on 2 books in particular, Henry Jenkins' 1992 book Textual Poachers and Daria Dater's Discursive Self in Microblogging, Speech Acts, Stories, and Self-Praise. Henry Jenkins is a leading scholar in fan studies. Jenkins coined the term participatory culture in Textual Poachers to describe the cultural production and social interactions of fan communities. This theory counters the idea that fans are simply consumers. Instead, fans are active participants in advancing their favorite texts, appropriating new materials, and making new meanings. Jenkins' work and the idea of participatory culture are foundational to my research. Discursive Self in Microblogging is an ethnographic study on small ballet communities on Twitter. This text leans on psychological and linguistic research to analyze how people build identity and maintain community boundaries on Twitter. Neither of these books are necessarily about TV live tweeting, but they complemented each other for the purpose of my research, since much of Textual Poachers is about TV fandom and Discursive Self in Microblogging is about Twitter usage. In my initial research, I identified 2 academic studies focused on television live tweeting. Live Tweets as Social Commentary by Melissa Ames, and OK Twitter, Trend This Sucka, #Supernatural by Guadalupe Negrete and Tara G. McManus. The former focuses on how to get away with murder viewers and how they used live tweeting as an opportunity to engage in moral debates. Ames is focused on the content of the tweets and less on the significance of the act of live tweeting. The latter is more concerned with why fans live tweet and the types of live tweets that appeared most often during one episode of the show Supernatural. Negrete and McManus look to the uses and gratifications model to explain why fans live tweet and engage in other activities for their chosen television series. Both of these studies were completed after their respective TV series ended, and both of these series had planned endings. Neither show was canceled. Both series were also highly popular at their peaks, Supernatural and How to Get Away with Murder. Interview with the Vampire is in a very different position compared to where How to Get Away with Murder and Supernatural were at the time of these studies. Interview with the Vampire would be considered a more niche series at this time. Also, Season 3 of Interview with the Vampire had not been confirmed before the airing of Season 2. Although I do not directly cite these articles, my research is in conversation with these 2 studies and aims to provide more context and support to both. There are many more studies on Twitter fandom behavior in general, such as Margarero Pico's #Fringe Audiences and Fan Labor, Twitter activism to save a TV show from cancellation. While this study mentions live tweeting, it is not its primary focus. Still, this article was key in my research. I relied on this article for information on fandom history and to get a look into what a highly organized TV fandom campaign looked like on Twitter in the 2010s. My study does not seek to challenge the scholarship I have identified. Instead, the study will build on the existing research. This research brings unique perspectives to fan studies since it is focused on a television series that is still airing and presents a framework through which to understand TV fans' motivation behind live tweeting. Fans did not always have social media platforms like Twitter where they could share their thoughts. Many trace the emergence of an organized media fan culture to the late 1960s, with viewers of Star Trek pressuring NBC to return the series to air. In the time before the internet, fans mobilized around conventions and other organized in-person events. They published fanzines in which they gave each other specific instructions on whom to call or send letters to and how to write requests to the staff behind their favorite series. The 1990s and the proliferation of the internet completely changed television fandom behavior. Fans began interacting with each other on online forums, blogs, and specialized websites. Then, in the 2000s, social media emerged, further changing fandom practices. Margarero Pico states social media platforms allowed fans to enhance their exposure and have greater influence on the way they promote and vouch for their favorite shows. Twitter, now officially known as X, was launched in 2006. You may have noticed I have been switching between Twitter and X. Throughout the rest of this project, I will continue to refer to X as Twitter. People still colloquially refer to the platform X as Twitter, on and off the site. People still call posts tweets and still call the act of live tweeting rather than live posting. Elon Musk has not managed to completely change the minds of the masses yet. Twitter is a social networking platform that allows for microblogging. There are 3 types of users on social media platforms: end users, advertisers, and developers. End users are the traditional consumers of the product that is Twitter. When I use the word user, these are the individuals to whom I am referring. Unlike other social media, tweets are fully public unless the user's account is private. A user does not need to know another user or have their permission to direct a tweet at them. On Twitter, the only way to communicate directly with another user without others seeing is through direct messages. Users who do not pay for an X subscription still have a limit of 280 characters per post. Due to the character limit, Twitter users are encouraged to produce short bursts of typed information. Users are not required to include an image or video in their post, unlike other social media apps such as Instagram and TikTok. Many users still choose to include visual media such as images, videos, and GIFs. Retweets allow users to forward their tweets to their followers, similar to forwarding an email. Quote retweets allow users to comment on another user's tweet while forwarding it. Fans on Twitter often organize their live tweets into threads, which are chains of posts created when a user replies to their own tweet. Threads make it much easier for researchers like me to tell if something was posted while the fan was watching the show or afterward. Twitter's search feature is also incredibly user-friendly. Users can search for others' display names, other account names, as well as words, phrases, and hashtags within other tweets. Overall, Twitter uniquely prioritizes accessible and immediate typed text, which makes it ideal for live posting. Each communicative act on Twitter is relatively decontextualized. Fandoms and sectors of Twitter are not actually clearly defined. There is a community feature on the platform now, but fans of programs still interact with each other outside of these defined channels. Fans on Twitter often indicate their fandom status or identity through their username, display name, profile picture, header picture, and/or their bio. New episodes of Interview with the Vampire were dropped at midnight Eastern Standard Time on Sundays on the AMC Plus app, then aired on cable at 9 p.m. Fans in Australia were able to access new episodes on what would have been Saturday for me. Some eager fans outside of Australia asked Australian viewers for the link to new episodes so that they could watch on Saturdays. Midnight viewers and Saturday viewers made my life very difficult, since I could only confidently consider tweets posted after 9 p.m. on Sundays truly live tweets. Although my focus was on the practice of live tweeting, I collected many tweets that could have been posted before or after the user watched a new episode. These tweets still reveal interesting information about how fans think of fandom, Twitter, and Interview with the Vampire as a series, so I decided to still use them in this project. With all of that out of the way, let's get into the 3 pillars of this framework. First, fans live tweet to connect with other fans. Live tweeting helps fans feel like they are in a larger collective. There's a lot of talk today about loneliness, lack of community, and lack of third places in the United States. Social media both contributes to these issues and can act as an antidote. While social media can contribute to low self-esteem and isolation, people can also find like-minded individuals and explore different interests on social networking platforms. Live tweeting is a practice through which individuals with similar interests and opinions can find each other. The practice of live tweeting reflects Benedict Anderson's idea of mass ceremony. Anderson demonstrates this idea through the example of a man reading the newspaper every morning. When the man opens the newspaper, he is aware that the ceremony he performs is being replicated simultaneously by thousands or millions of others, of whose existence he is confident, yet of whose identity he has not the slightest notion. When that man goes outside, he may observe exact replicas of his own newspaper being consumed. These observations reassure that the other readers he imagined are visibly rooted in everyday life. Similarly, fans watch their favorite TV show well aware that thousands of other people are watching the show at the same time. However, they cannot see the other viewers, except for their immediate friends or families who may be in the room with them. Viewers know the ceremony is being replicated, but they have no idea who the thousands of other people watching the show are and how they are reacting. Live tweeting makes this imagined mass ceremony of watching television visible. Live tweeting reassures fans that other viewers are actively watching a new television episode, and the practice shows them that those other viewers may be just as passionate about the series, if not more so. The reassurance provided through viewing live tweets leads individual fans to identify themselves as part of a larger collective. Posting and viewing other live tweets is the closest an individual fan can get to the feeling of having a watch party, surrounded by other people all sharing their thoughts and reactions out loud. The closest someone can get other than actually having a watch party in person or on Zoom or FaceTime. Through live tweeting, fans can see other people's thoughts, feelings, and reactions seconds after they post. Some fans may consider watching a show with other people on Twitter better than having people right next to them. Twitter is silent unless a user attaches video with sound. Fans are able to see hundreds of tweets in minutes. Fans can see reaction images, GIFs, and videos, which often display an exaggerated, more humorous version of the poster's true emotions. Fans are able to post their reactions with relative anonymity. They can be more open in the reactions on Twitter compared to if they were watching with others physically present. All of this contributes to fans feeling as if they are connected to thousands of people at one time. Throughout my research, I saw multiple instances in which Interview with the Vampire fans explicitly identified themselves as a part of the fandom or a community while they live tweeted. This is best shown through their frequent references to a collective we. For example, @KateOric tweeted during the second episode of Season 2, "It still feels surreal to me that IWTV is airing right now, and we're actually watching Season 2. Like, what?" This user could have replaced "we're" with "I'm," and the original meaning of the tweet would not be lost. They would still be expressing their awe that Season 2 is airing. However, they chose to identify themselves with everyone else watching Season 2 of Interview with the Vampire. To live tweeters like @KateOric, the experience of watching Season 2 is not just an insular individual experience, even though there may not be anyone else physically present with them while watching. They proudly share the viewing experience with thousands of other people online. Another example comes from @Cineromantic, who tweeted, "Saying IWTV is the best TV show on air isn't enough anymore. Saying it's real TV isn't enough either. We need a stronger phrase, a stronger word to let the masses know what they're missing." Since they use "we need" instead of "I need," it's clear that @Cineromantic does not view letting the masses know what they're missing as an individual task. This is a mission they want to undertake with other fans. Sometimes these "we" tweets indicate specific qualities about IWTV fans. These tweets go beyond simply acknowledging the existence of other viewers. They give us some information about how fans perceive other fans of Interview with the Vampire and their presence on Twitter. The next example does not come from a live tweet, but it is too rich to leave out of this video essay. It can be assumed that @Haggravated watched Season 2, Episode 2 before the 9 p.m. airing and was tweeting about other early fan reactions to Episode 2. In a back and forth with another IWTV fan, @Haggravated tweeted in response to these reactions, "And the thing is, we all know each other here. If Twitter user Armand Daniel 69ing tweets, 'I'm so upset' after watching an episode, I'm gonna assume Armand and Daniel don't 69 in it." This tweet shows how some Interview with the Vampire fans are often frustrated with other viewers' bias towards certain characters and relationships on the show. @Haggravated thought Armand and Daniel shippers were not patient enough and were unjustly harsh to the new episodes since nothing romantic or sexual happened between their favorite relationship, the ship being Armand and Daniel. This tweet is particularly interesting since @Haggravated began with, "We all know each other here." This indicates her perceived familiarity with other Interview with the Vampire fans on Twitter. She believes she understands other fans' wants and expectations. Twitter is not a physical space, but she still says here, as if Twitter, or specifically the Interview with the Vampire fandom presence on Twitter, is a well-defined community with physical boundaries, like a cul-de-sac where all the neighbors know each other. Interview with the Vampire fans clearly feel as if they are part of a collective, or they imagine themselves as a part of a larger Twitter fan community. Fans may not exist all together in one physical space, but the simultaneity of Twitter allows them to feel like they are all together. Because Interview with the Vampire is an explicitly queer show, fans' imagined community can take on an additional layer of significance. The simultaneity of Twitter allows fans to not just feel like they are watching with other Interview with the Vampire fans, but watching with other LGBTQ+ identified people or allies. Henry Jenkins stated, "Fans have chosen these media products from the total range of available text precisely because they seem to hold special potential as vehicles for expressing the fans' pre-existing social commitments and cultural interests." In the case of Interview with the Vampire, fans' pre-existing social commitments and cultural interests include vampires, Anne Rice's original novels, historical fiction, Southern Gothic aesthetics, and non-heteronormative relationships on screen. Fans of Interview with the Vampire can safely assume that other fans of Interview with the Vampire are either LGBTQ+ identified or allies to the LGBTQ+ community. Therefore, Interview with the Vampire is a vehicle through which fans can support LGBTQ+ representation and interact with other people who care about seeing queer stories on screen. Historically, LGBTQ audiences have been forced into the shadows to, quote, eke out subtextual representation from an overabundance of canonical heterosexual narratives, end quote. But Interview with the Vampire fans do not have to look for subtext. All of the queerness in this series is above the surface. Through practices such as live tweeting, Interview with the Vampire fans can easily find others who are gushing about Louis and Lestat's relationship, or gushing about references to Daniel's bisexuality, or any of the other queer characters or relationships in this series. Instead of eking out subtextual representation, Interview with the Vampire fans have many different queer pairings to root for and analyze. Although fans of Interview with the Vampire can enjoy the canonical queer representation in this series, there are still fans of other TV shows who connect through their shared non-canon queer readings of certain narratives. And just as a note, for something to be canon or canonical, it means that relationship or event is a confirmed reality in that show, film, or book. Two other series that overlapped with the airing of Interview with the Vampire Season 2 were ABC's 911 and HBO's House of the Dragon. Both of these series have subsections of fans intently reading relationships in the series as queer when the relationships are not explicitly so. As far as my knowledge, Rhaenyra and Alicent may have kissed, but I'm not sure. There is a subsection of 911 fans who read the relationship between the firefighters Buck and Eddie as romantic, or they want the relationship to become romantic. These characters' ship name is called Buddy, and the fans who want them in a romantic relationship call themselves Buddies. Although I do not watch this show, I remember when the episode in which Buck kissed a man for the first time aired, because I was on Twitter. Buddies were live tweeting their ecstatic reactions. I saw one fan post a picture of themselves crying tears of joy. They felt this was the first key step in Buddy becoming canon. Buddies show that even within fandoms, there can be groups within groups. Fans connect with other fans who have similar readings of different plot lines and relationships. Live tweeting connects buddies to each other. They can feel less alone knowing that other people also believe that there are romantic undertones to Buck and Eddie's relationship. This connection pillar does not just involve individuals connecting to the larger fan collective. It also involves fans connecting with subsections of fans who have similar readings of the show or dedicate more attention to certain characters or plot lines. Live tweeting connects fans. They are bonded by similar interests, pre-existing social commitments, shared readings, and other factors. Fans sharing each other's excitement and love for their favorite TV show while live tweeting. Live tweeting allows fans' imagined community to materialize, thereby fostering solidarity and combating feelings of loneliness or alienation. Solidarity is key to the connection pillar. The father of sociology, Emil Durkheim, believed solidarity was the basis of social cohesion. Solidarity and a shared sense of meaning between people, that's what makes us social beings rather than just biological entities. Social rituals like live tweeting connect people to each other and in turn their humanity. The second pillar of this framework is promotion. There's a common sentiment online that series are being canceled at a higher rate than in the 2010s, and that good shows are being canceled before they've been given a true chance to find their audience. Whether TV shows are truly being canceled at a higher rate than in previous years does not really matter. Fans have internalized this concern. Promotion was my primary reason for live tweeting industry when I first started, but I soon realized my commitment to live tweeting went deeper than just wanting the series to be renewed. Interview with the Vampire fans were also fighting for the series to be renewed for Season 3. Fans are aware that Interview with the Vampire is popular, but not exactly mainstream. They were also aware that having committed fans on social media is not enough to guarantee renewal. For decades, fans have been coordinating organized campaigns for season renewals or to save series from cancellation. According to Guerrero Pico, the Fringe TV series Fandom executed the first methodical fan activist approach on Twitter in 2012. To help Fringe get renewed for a 5th season, fans strategically used Twitter to boost the show's popularity. Guerrero Pico explains that one core group of fans would meet on Skype every weekend, analyze the trailer for next week's episode, then create hashtags based on the elements they believed would be interesting for viewers. Every week they try to make a new Fringe-related hashtag trend, as opposed to the common Save Our Show hashtags or hashtags of just the series name. The Interview with the Vampire fandom is not as highly organized as the Fringe fandom in 2012. However, the Fringe renewal campaign demonstrates the lengths fans will go to mobilize others and advocate for their chosen series. Also in 2012, the lead actress from the series Scandal, Kerry Washington, helped popularize live tweeting. @Michael Collado brought this to my attention back in April. He quoted a tweet from @PopBase that read, "Scandal premiered 12 years ago." In his quote tweet, Michael stated, "Revolutionized live tweeting. The impact Kerry Washington had on TV Twitter cannot be overstated." I later came across another tweet that claimed Scandal birthed live tweeting. I doubt Washington was the first person to live tweet, but she was one of the first celebrities to do so, and therefore helped popularize the practice. ABC originally ordered a very limited number of episodes for Scandal. Additionally, there were not many drama series led by black women on cable TV in the early 2010s. Washington and the show's creator, Shonda Rhimes, felt a lot of pressure to make the series a hit. When speaking about her decision to start live tweeting during Scandal, Washington said, quote, "I was coming off working on the Obama campaign and the huge change that social media made in that campaign. We had to do everything we could on a grassroots level to make people love this show. What worked was that we all loved our show and wanted to be talking to each other and the fans because we were so proud of the work we were doing. It was just so truthful," end quote. Rhimes then stated, quote, "And it had an authenticity to it. It wasn't about," end quote. Washington interjects, "marketing." Although the original intention may not have been marketing, Washington's live tweeting of Scandal helped promote the show. Another actor on Scandal stated, "It, live tweeting, also made Scandal appointment TV because you wanted to be a part of the conversation. Making others feel like a series is appointment TV is key to promotion. Due to streaming, people can watch TV episodes at any time, but fans, including Interview with the Vampire fans, want people to watch episodes as they air and tweet about it so that the large collective attention on the series will attract more viewers. People hate being left out of the conversation or cultural moments, so if fans cause a lot of Twitter traffic, new viewers will want to tune in." While hashtagging is not quite as common as it was during the early 2010s, Interview with the Vampire fans still made use of hashtags in hopes of garnering outside attention for the series. The most common hashtags used were hashtag Interview with the Vampire, hashtag IWTV, and hashtag IWTV spoilers. One user, @PixieLayer, tweeted near the end of an episode airing, "Keep pumping those numbers up, hashtag Interview with the Vampire, hashtag IWTV," with a screenshot showing the Interview with the Vampire hashtag trending, encouraging fans to continue live tweeting and posting after the episode ended. Throughout my research, I would see IWTV fans show a lot of concern for trending statistics and tweet engagement. Fans wanted to push IWTV outside of its fan bubble and into more mainstream spaces by getting the show's associated hashtags to trend. Another tweet from @PixieLayer reads, "Already got the tag trending, but please remember to watch/stream IWTV episode 3 tonight at 9 p.m. either via cable or live through your preferred app. 3 back-to-back showings tonight, plus another at 4:15 a.m. EST, so try to catch one or all." Although this tweet was not posted during the airing of an episode, it still shows the campaign-like dedication some IWTV fans have toward the series. Tweets like this convey fans' concern for post-engagement statistics and series viewership numbers. Fans sometimes compare live tweeting to a job. Like work, live tweeting occurs in bounded shifts. Fans know their work benefits the showrunners, writers, and executives at AMC, as more normal paid labor benefits the laborer and others. When I would live tweet during Industry Season 2, I would joke in my mind that I was clocking into a job that I actually enjoyed. @Wretched Sapphic felt the same way. Right at 9 p.m. EST one Sunday, they tweeted, "Alright, it's 4 a.m., time to clock in." The promotional aspect of live tweeting makes it clear that this activity is not just a hobby to benefit oneself. It is labor that benefits other fans, people employed by Interview with the Vampire, and AMC. Certain tweets make fans' motivation behind promoting the show more explicit. They are not just sharing Interview with the Vampire for the sake of it. They wanted the series to be renewed for Season 3. 2 minutes into the airing of Season 2, Episode 4 of Interview with the Vampire, one user tweeted, hashtag Interview with the Vampire, Season 2, Episode 4, in parentheses 11. Watch thread. The very next tweet in this thread reads, "Doing this like I didn't watch this last night, but it's okay. We have to keep these ratings up for Season 3. It seems this user watched the new episode on Saturday night or in the early morning hours of Sunday, June 2nd, 2024. Still, it is interesting that they decided to rewatch the new episode at 9 p.m. on Sunday and live tweet during their watch. This user explicitly states that they are watching the new episode to contribute to Interview with the Vampire's ratings, in hopes that it will get renewed for Season 3. In tweeting about watching the new episode previously, and mentioning ratings in their tweet, they are also subtly promoting the show. This user's followers may notice their dedication and concern for ratings and become interested in Interview with the Vampire. The following tweet was not live, but it demonstrates how some users were hyper-aware of the need for high viewership for the series to get renewed for Season 3. The tweet reads, "I'm not anti-black flag emoji, skull and crossbones emoji, meaning pirating, by any means, but those views don't get counted, and the less views they get, the less chance we have for Season 3. Interestingly, this tweet uses "we" to identify Interview with the Vampire fans as a part of a collective. This user, Apollo, could have simply said, "the less chance that the show will get renewed," but they see a renewal as a collective win. This tweet carries an undertone of stress and frustration. Apollo is glad people are watching the series, but they are frustrated that those views may not be counted when AMC is deciding whether to renew the series. Again, the campaign-like dedication of fans shines through. Fans are aware that tweeting, live or not, can help mobilize other fans and draw in potential viewers. Promotion is the most tangible motivation for live tweeting. This pillar shows that live tweeting does not simply serve psychological needs like social connection, but it can serve a practical goal that fans can work toward and see the fruits of their labor in the form of higher ratings, increased social media engagement, and season renewals. Pillar 3. Performance. Fans live tweet to perform their commitment to their chosen series. If fans just wanted to express their emotions for themselves, they would put their thoughts somewhere more private, like a journal or a tweet on a private account with little to no followers. Posting on a public Twitter account shows fans' desire to display their passion and commitment to a wide audience. Using Goffman's dramaturgical metaphor for performativity, live tweeting happens on the front stage as opposed to backstage actions, which are invisible to the audience. As Darya Dater states, identity is performed, constructed, enacted, or produced moment to moment in everyday interactions, or in this case, everyday social media posts. Every time someone posts on social media, they step onto the front stage to perform their identity. When I went back through tweets I collected to group them, one common category I had was live tweet with reference to user's emotional state. Any live tweets in which the user referred to themselves is a form of self-disclosure, or an information exchange that refers to the self. Some psychologists consider self-disclosure to be one of the constitutive elements of a healthy personality. Online self-disclosure is different from conversing in person, but it can still be a helpful practice for some people. Often, fans on Twitter will be anonymous. Their real names and likenesses will often not be attached to their accounts. This anonymity can help individuals feel more comfortable when disclosing intimate information. Even for users who have their full names on their accounts and clear pictures of themselves, there is still a barrier between themselves and their online audience. Posting online is still not as vulnerable as speaking to an audience in person. Darya Dater stated, quote, "The self-expressive function of self-disclosure is the one that markedly comes to the fore in internet contexts. It is hypothesized that the internet creates an environment which is unusually conducive to expressing one's true identity because it is possible to retain anonymity in interactions, and because there are no constraints placed on us by those who know us in real life." End quote. But self-expression does not adequately encapsulate what fans do when they live tweet. There's performativity and a need for self-presentation underlying live tweeting. In many of the tweets I observed, fans expressed their close personal identification with the series and its characters. In these expressions, fans perform their dedication and aspects of their identity, such as their fan status, sexuality, and sense of humor. Fans using "my" in reference to characters on Interview with the Vampire shows a level of possession fans feel towards these characters. They have gone beyond characters fans simply enjoy watching to characters fans liken to family or close friends. For example, just a few minutes into episode 3, @Broccola tweeted, "Louise Sleeping Beauty, my Pookie is Pookie," the word Pookie being a term of endearment. Early during the airing of episode 4, @Moonlit Pisces posted, "My baby Claudia is a star." These my tweets also appear in tweets posted after viewing. Immediately after the airing of episode 5, @Vampire Jerema tweeted, "I stand with my canceled wife, #Interview with the Vampire," in reference to the complicated character Armand. Another user tweeted about Claudia after the airing of episode 7, "I've been screaming, crying, and throwing up all weekend like she's my real sister or something," in parentheses, "she is," with the kissy face emoji. These my tweets demonstrate how fans assert their individual identity over mass-produced text, such as TV series like Interview with the Vampire. Fans cannot truly know these characters as their baby or wife, but that fictional distance allows them to project any relationship they want onto these characters. Fans are not simply audience members, but are active participants in the construction and circulation of textual meanings. In posting these tweets publicly, fans are performing to all on Twitter that they feel an intimate attachment to the characters on screen. Fans, maybe not consciously, want others to know that they are not indifferent audience members, but are active watchers who are intensely emotionally involved with their chosen series. Another subcategory of tweets that displays the performance aspect of live tweeting are tweets that express highly exaggerated emotions. These highly dramatic tweets can overlap with the My Tweets. Some of these tweets reference the user's emotional state in more straightforward ways. For example, @APaleStudent tweeted during episode 4, "Our daughter, I'm sobbing," after Lestat referred to Claudia as his and Louis' daughter. Alicia, aka APaleStudent, may or may not have actually been sobbing, but she felt compelled to express the depths of her emotions while the episode was still airing. Throughout my research, I noticed that Interview with the Vampire fans are especially emotional when it comes to the Lestat, Claudia, and Louis family dynamic. Claudia was turned into a vampire when she was a teenager. Overwhelmed by guilt and desperation, Louis begged Lestat to turn Claudia. Although they operated like a family when Claudia was younger, eventually she distanced herself from Louis and Lestat. Many fans love when these three acknowledge each other using traditional familial terms, even though they are not a traditional family. Similarly, another user tweeted during the airing of episode 2, "Just collapsed to the floor." Again, she may or may not have fallen, but this tweet publicly displays the intensity of this fan's emotional investment in the series. Sometimes fans do not express their emotions with just words. They also rely on reaction GIFs, videos, or images. I cannot confirm this, but I think one popular account, @SamKeelys, would watch the new episodes before the 9 p.m. airing, then gather stills from the show and other media to draft tweets so that they could post reactions during the 9 p.m. airing. Sometimes they would post stills from the show or quotes immediately after those scenes occurred during the 9 p.m. airing. If this was the case, @SamKeelys was performing their identity and likely performing for other Interview with the Vampire fans to engage with their tweets. Toward the end of Season 2, Episode 4, @SamKeelys tweeted, "Armand, you better unhand her now," with a clip from Season 2 of Euphoria in which the character Cassie screams, "No," and runs to grab the actress playing her in a school play. This tweet is interesting since it connects Interview with the Vampire to another popular TV show, and since this user directly addresses the character Armand. In this tweet, SamKeelys uses Cassie as a stand-in for themselves. SamKeelys wishes they could jump through the screen and grab Armand away from Claudia, as Cassie grabbed the actress playing her in the school play. This user tweeting as if they could command Armand is not at all uncommon. In my data, there is a subcategory of tweets that directly address characters from the show. Similar to my tweets, fans can assert their desires and ideas onto Interview with the Vampire's characters through these direct tweets. These dramatic tweets also show fans' desires to be recognized as intensely emotionally involved with Interview with the Vampire. Sometimes fans' emotional tweets are a little bit more complex. They can have layers of metaphor and references. The most dramatic tweets I took notice of were ones that referenced suicide, drug use, and the 9/11 terror attacks. For example, after the premiere of the Season 2 finale, @Pyramus_Thisbe tweeted, "The way Lestat started breathing heavily and couldn't hide how nervous he was when he saw Louis getting closer to him. KMS hours." KMS being kill myself or killing myself. @Sanlelio tweeted also after the airing of the finale, "I did nothing to prepare myself for IWTV's S2 ending. I'm gonna miss my girl so bad, I'm gonna get a lobotomy or KMS, I guess." Again, sometimes fans do not just use words for these faux suicidal tweets. Although this tweet was posted after viewing, it is still an excellent example of a highly dramatic tweet that relies solely on reaction media. @WhatCult posted a tweet in which a fan connects a still of Armand and young Daniel and a painting inspired by Armand. Kaya simply posted a compilation of characters played by Cillian Murphy holding guns to their heads or in extreme distress. This compilation is another popular reaction video I had seen before this tweet and have seen since. Kaya uses this tweet to demonstrate the distress they felt seeing this simple comparison between young Daniel and Armand/Amadeo in the painting. They likely did not feel the same level of devastation and desperation portrayed by Cillian Murphy in these videos, but Kaya still in some way identifies with the intense emotion shown. Then, for references to drug use, one of my favorites is, "I might have overdosed on yaoi," in parentheses, watched the newest Interview with the Vampire episode, by user Haggravated. Since this tweet indicates the user's love for a yaoi, men loving men sexual romantic dynamics or in relationships, this person is also performing their allyship with the queer community or their own queerness in addition to their love for the show. @Haggravated uses the word overdose to explain that they have consumed a lot of yaoi content through watching Interview with the Vampire. Another example comes from @PollyClonnelly, who quoted another post showing the characters Armand and Daniel asking how fans of the relationship were feeling after the Season 2 finale. Polyclonally's tweet read, #IWTV spoilers. Congratulations to all the old man yaoi coke dealers and deranged freak sickos, and also bisexuals, for winning this very specific lottery. The phrase old man yaoi coke dealers probably sounds like nonsense to some of you listening. This is just a creative way of saying people who enjoy or are really passionate about seeing older men past middle age in romantic or sexual relationships with other men. References to 9/11 are also a common and dramatic way fans express intense emotions on Twitter. Although there's only one example of this in my data, I have observed many fans saying things like, "This is my 9/11" or "They hit the towers" as a reaction. In reaction to the trailer for Episode 5, @VampireJerema tweeted, "They hit the Lumon Daniel towers." To break this down, Lumon Daniel refers to the characters Louis, Armand, and Daniel as a single entity, every relationship between the two of them and their collective relationship as a trio. To say they hit the blank towers is a creative way of indicating there has been a significant revelation, new development, or anything of substance that happened to whatever the blank is. So this fan is indicating their excitement for all of the new information that will be revealed about Louis, Armand, and Daniel's history with each other in Episode 5. In referencing serious tragic events such as 9/11 and drug overdoses, fans are performing their somewhat edgy sense of humor. Many of the tweets I have discussed in this section are not exactly live tweets. It makes sense that many of the most descriptive and poetic reaction tweets happen before or after episodes. During episodes, fans may not have the time or concentration to pull themselves away from the show and tweet a well-thought-out creative reaction. A lot of times, I just tweet emojis or "no" while live tweeting. While watching the Industry Season 3 finale, I just tweeted "ah" at one point. Still, many users can tweet somewhat eloquently during episodes, maybe just not to the extent of @Polyclonally's creativity. It seems fans ask themselves, how can I, in the most creative and dramatic way possible, demonstrate, express, or perform my love for or emotional investment in this show or person? Fans draw on very intense, even taboo references such as suicide and drug overdoses to express this love. As discussed previously, tweeting and live tweeting is rooted in a natural desire for self-disclosure. People want to share information about themselves simply because it feels good. Twitter is an outlet for socially licensed public self-talk. Fans want to show their dedication, their sexual interest, their commitment, and their quirky sense of humor all through their tweets about Interview with the Vampire and other topics. Through the use of words like yaoi and social media common humor motifs like hit the towers, they are also displaying their identity as part of what Daria Dater calls the in-group. They are showing that they are in the know as Interview with the Vampire fans and social media users in general. To be loved is to be known, to be seen. Users put all these aspects of themselves on display for strangers to see. Performing identity through live tweeting can be viewed as reaching out for recognition. In September 2024, I clocked back into the industry fandom on Twitter and live tweeted while watching Season 3 every Sunday at 9 p.m. for 8 weeks. And this time, I was much more aware of why I was doing it, to connect, promote, and perform. Reckoning with the fact that I was performing was a little difficult, but I eventually embraced it. I do want to show whoever comes across my tweets that I am passionate about industry. I do want to be known. I want my interests to be recognized even if I cannot see or know my audience. I wanted to connect with other fans and process my thoughts, and I still wanted to promote the show even though I was at peace with Season 3 being the final season. Let's revisit my research questions from earlier. Why do fans live tweet? Well, to connect with each other, promote the show, and perform their commitment and identity. Are there any patterns in how fans live tweet about Interview with the Vampire? What are the patterns in how viewers make meaning? Well, one of the main patterns I noticed was that people are deeply invested in the Louis, Claudia, and Lestat family dynamic. They are interested in the tragedy of it all, and they really indulged in moments where Louis and Lestat called Claudia their daughter. There's also so much shipping. There are so many different relationships and combinations. Lestat, Claudeline, Armand Daniel, Lumon, Lesmond, Lumon Daniel. Fans really enjoy analyzing each of these different combinations and rooting for them or even arguing about them. As for patterns and how fans make meaning, it's in those things I just talked about. It's in talking about family and shipping, but it's also through those dramatic tweets where viewers show their deep attachment to these characters. Through live tweeting, fans are sort of using these characters to test out performance and test out aspects of their identity, such as their sense of humor and sexuality. What do live tweets reveal about the meaning or significance of a TV show for viewers? Do live tweets show different readings of the show? Well, for TV in general, live tweets reveal those pre-existing social commitments and cultural interests Jenkins mentioned. Or maybe the show introduces fans to new interests. Just some of the features of Interview with the Vampire that make it so emotionally resonant for fans are its portrayal of non-normative family dynamics, its portrayal of grief, loss, and tragedy, and the queer representation. Live tweets definitely show different readings of the show. I saw many different opinions about who's truly evil and who is lying, like specifically about who's lying about Armand and Lestat's past. There's also arguments about Lestat's abusing Louis and the night Claudia was turned, and in the case of shows like 911, there are different queer readings of relationships. How do live tweets convey the three pillars of this framework: connection, promotion, and performance? I'm just going to hit some of the main points for each one. For connection, those tweets that use we and people referring to themselves as buddies or Lestat shippers, identifying themselves as a part of a group within a group. In promotion, all those references to season 3 renewal and people saying things like clock in. Performance, those highly dramatic tweets, references to suicide, drug use, and people just tweeting about their reactions in general, the self-disclosure of it all. What does fandom social media behavior tell us about how fans think about the state of television? Well, looking at the promotion pillar, fans feel the need to contribute their unpaid labor to organize and promote television. Fans feel that Interview with the Vampire and horror television in general is undervalued, and they are still invested in awards and prestige. The connection, promotion, and performance framework has helped me understand my motives behind live tweeting and has helped me process Interview with the Vampire fan tweets. I hope it can be helpful to others. Now, I do not claim to completely understand Interview with the Vampire fans and their actions. Instead, this video essay presents one 3-part lens you can use to view live tweeting and maybe other fan behaviors on Twitter/X. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed.